The sky over Narofominsk, Russia, was still dark on October 10, 2025. Suddenly, a series of bright flashes shattered the pre-dawn calm. No lightning, but the opening salvo of a massive, coordinated attack. Alarms blared inside a heavily fortified Russian military depot as soldiers scrambled, unaware of the scale of the threat. This was the start of one of the war's boldest operations, a Ukrainian robot army striking deep inside Russian territory. The target, a critical missile and ammunition hub, was thought to be untouchable. The first explosions were precision strikes, sowing chaos and confusion. Small, stealthy drones slipped past Russian air defenses, targeting communication towers and radar to blind the fortress. Russian sentries, confused, peered into the darkness, unable to grasp the true nature of the attack. From a hidden Ukrainian command center, generals watched real-time feeds from dozens of drones and ground robots, every move part of a meticulous plan. This was more than an attack. It was a demonstration of Ukraine's technological leap. Months of building a machine army culminated in this moment. The world was about to witness the future of conflict. Russian reports were frantic and contradictory. Missile strike, special forces raid, no one knew for sure. Commanders struggled as communication lines failed and radar screens filled with static. Ukrainian electronic jamming created a digital fog of war. In the confusion, the main Ukrainian force advanced, unseen and unheard. The stage was set for a battle that would cost Russia over $700 million in military hardware. The fortress, once thought invincible, was about to fall. The initial Ukrainian assault was just the beginning. The world would soon realize that no fortress was truly safe. The dawn of destruction had arrived. The Narofominsk depot was considered one of Russia's most secure military sites, just 70 kilometers from Moscow, protected by S-400 missile systems, Pantsir air defenses, minefields, and concrete walls. It was a symbol of Russian might. As explosions rocked the base, Russian defenses sprang into action. S-400 batteries launched missiles, hunting for jets or missiles they assumed were attacking. Electronic warfare units jammed the airwaves, trying to disrupt incoming threats. T-90 tanks and armored patrols rolled out, searching for infiltrators. But the Russian strategy was built for conventional warfare: aircraft, missiles, human soldiers. Their sensors scanned for large, fast-moving targets, not the silent, creeping army of machines now approaching. The confidence of the Russian commanders was misplaced. Their best equipment and well-trained soldiers were ready for the wrong kind of enemy. The S-400s wasted million-dollar missiles on decoy drones. The real threat was coming low and slow, undetected. The fortress's defenses, designed for yesterday's wars, were about to be outflanked by tomorrow's technology. The Russians were fighting phantoms, while the true danger closed in. The illusion of invincibility was about to shatter. The wall of steel was not as solid as it seemed. While Russian air defenses fired at decoys, the real Ukrainian assault crept in from the ground. Unmanned ground vehicles, UGVs, advanced through the forests, some dog-sized for reconnaissance, others larger and heavily armed. Scout robots mapped Russian positions and minefields, feeding real-time data to the main force. Engineering robots cleared obstacles, cutting through wire and plowing safe lanes. The UGVs moved in coordinated formation, their encrypted network immune to Russian jamming. Overhead, a second wave of attack drones flew low, providing overwatch and fire support. Russian sensors, tuned for jets and helicopters, missed the swarm of small, slow-moving machines. Soldiers strained to see the threat, but the robots were too quiet, too well camouflaged. By the time Russian command realized what was happening, the robotic vanguard was already at the gates. The combination of ground and air robots left the defenders paralyzed. The future of combined arms warfare had arrived. The fortress's walls were about to be tested as never before. The unseen tide was ready to break. The robots were at the doorstep. As ground robots reached the perimeter, the third phase began. A drone swarm. Hundreds of explosive-laden drones launched, guided by AI, not human pilots. Their target Russian defenses, Pantsir systems, watchtowers, armored vehicles. The swarm overwhelmed the Pantsirs, attacking from all directions. Each drone was cheap and small, but together they were unstoppable. Explosions erupted along the defensive line as radar arrays and missile launchers were destroyed. The air defense network collapsed in minutes. Russian soldiers, trained for visible enemies, were helpless against the cloud of drones. Machine gun fire was useless. For every drone shot down, 10 more arrived. Panic and chaos spread. Morale broke before the ground battle even began. With defenses crippled, Ukrainian ground robots advanced. Engineering UGVs cleared minefields and cut wire, while combat robots provided covering fire. The operation was seamless: drone swarm, scout robots, engineering and combat units working as one. The gates of the fortress were about to be torn open. The defenders were outmatched and outnumbered by machines. The main gate, a massive steel and concrete barrier, faced its ultimate test. A heavy-duty breaching UGV, armored and relentless, rammed the gate again and again. Suppressive fire from combat robots pinned down Russian defenders in guard towers and bunkers. Ukrainian drones overhead dropped grenades on any reinforcements. The gate finally gave way, torn from its hinges. Ukrainian combat robots surged through the breach, fanning out to secure the area. Their mission: clear the way for the next phase of the assault. The robots moved with speed and precision, their sensors cutting through smoke and confusion. Russian defenders, shocked by the breach, faced an enemy they couldn't fight conventionally. Attempts at ambush failed. Robots' thermal sensors detected every move. The psychological impact was devastating. The machines seemed indestructible. Russian response was disorganized, their will to fight crumbling. The robots weren't just breaking physical defenses. They were breaking the defenders' spirit. The fortress's heart was exposed. The machines pressed forward, unstoppable. The gates had fallen to steel claws. Desperate, Russian command scrambled Mi-24 Hind attack helicopters from a nearby base. The flying tanks launched into the chaos, targeting Ukrainian ground robots. But Ukraine was ready. A swarm of Viper drones designed for air-to-air combat rose to meet the helicopters. Fast, agile, and armed with heat-seeking missiles, the drones attacked in unpredictable patterns. The sky erupted in a swirling dogfight. Old versus new, manned versus autonomous. Hind pilots, veterans of many battles, were overwhelmed by the AI-driven swarm. Missiles struck from all directions, helicopters fell, crashing into the burning base below. The defeat of the Hind squadron was a turning point. Ukraine's drones had proven themselves against both ground and air threats. With Russian air support gone, defenders on the ground were isolated. Ukrainian control of the air was absolute. The final phase of destruction could begin, unopposed. The machines ruled the battlefield. With the breach secured and skies clear, the main objective began. Robots and Ukrainian special forces pushed deeper into the depot. Robots led, absorbing resistance. Human soldiers followed, clearing buildings and taking prisoners. Their targets: ammunition and fuel storage. The heart of the depot. UGVs planted demolition charges. Drones painted targets for precision artillery. Ukrainian artillery, miles away, fired with pinpoint accuracy. The result: cataclysmic explosions, warehouses and fuel depots vanishing in fireballs. Secondary blasts rippled through the base as ammunition cooked off. The destruction was systematic and total. The goal: erase the depot from the map. The financial cost was staggering, but the strategic blow was even greater. An entire supply hub was wiped out in a single night. Russia's war effort suffered a crippling setback. As dawn broke, the scale of destruction was clear. The once mighty base was a smoldering ruin, black smoke visible for miles. Burnt-out tanks, trucks, and helicopters littered the ground. Ukrainian forces had already withdrawn, their robots slipping away into the forests. Russian losses were catastrophic. Hundreds killed or wounded, vast stores of hardware destroyed. The financial hit was huge, but the loss of supplies would cripple Russian operations. Russian medics searched the wreckage for survivors. Ukrainian medics had left behind aid and marked wounded for rescue, a rare act of mercy. The attack sent a clear message: nowhere was safe. Ukraine's technological edge had changed the nature of war. The ruins of Narofominsk marked a new era, where robots and drones could topple even the mightiest fortress. The destruction of Narofominsk was more than a tactical victory, it was a strategic earthquake. $700 million in assets lost, a central logistics hub erased. Russian forces now faced crippling shortages at the front. The attack exposed a fundamental vulnerability. Russia's defenses were built for yesterday's threats. Expensive air defenses and tanks were outmaneuvered by cheap, agile machines. The Russian military was forced to question the security of every high-value site. The world watched and learned. The age of robotic warfare had arrived. Power now belonged to those who could innovate and deploy autonomous systems. As the smoke cleared, one thing was certain: the future of war would be fought by machines, and that future had already begun.